Hello, how are you all getting on? So I had a lovely question from Jane, who also has a Substack, so I will link to it below. And do follow her work. It's lovely. But Jane asked a really interesting question that I get asked lots of times about niching. There's a real worry about when you niche in private practice, are you going to be too specific and will you push other people away? So your focus becomes so narrow that you actually don't get busier. But I can assure you that the more you niche, the more niche you get with your messaging and your website, the busier you get. It was something I was so nervous about. And actually, I'm sure she won't mind me mentioning, when I did some coaching a while back with Sheena Ridings, who you will know as the pain therapist, she came to me and she was a CBT therapist with this real passion for working with chronic pain and a personal struggle with pain in her family. But she was really nervous. And she also has 10 years working in a pain clinic. So loads of experience, really qualified to work with this niche, but was really concerned about narrowing it. However, she marketed herself as CBT therapist, but she had this account for hens because she's an avid hen keeper. And this account on Instagram was growing and growing and growing. And it was perfect evidence because it was clear if you like hens and chickens, you follow this account. So because it was niched, it grew a lot bigger than her more generic Instagram account. So that's an example of how niching can be beneficial. And then what in Jane's question, which you can read below, what she's asking is that lots of people we see might have OCD, trauma, panic attacks, depression, but actually not know the term for it. So they don't have the language around what they're struggling with. You see this a lot with OCD and with trauma. I ask lots of my clients in assessments. In fact, I'll probably switch how I ask it now. But I would ask previously, have you had any traumas? And people would go, no traumas. And then a couple of sessions in, you'd hear this huge trauma, you'd go, that's actually a trauma. But because they've been experiencing it for so long, it feels quite normalised for them. So they might be looking for a therapist without the language of what they need help for. So what you do in your marketing, I want you to still be really specific about the type of client that you want to work with. So Jane mentions working with parents with OCD so that they can help themselves and help their children as well. And we know that most people with OCD have struggled with it for many years before they get help. I think it's about 20 years on average from the start of the struggle to getting professional help. So it might be very normalised to them. They might never have had it diagnosed. So what you'd want to do then is still be very clear in your mind who you're targeting with your message, your marketing, but talk around the symptoms. So are you constantly checking, feeling overwhelmed with anxiety, certain behaviours, meaning that you're not functioning how you want to do in your life, or are you struggling with really difficult thoughts? And you could speak to that and also say, I work with parents who have OCD because I want to kind of reduce the generational impact of that, which Jane's talking about in her question. So if you go to my website, sarahdrees.co.uk, that is optimized for my therapy business. And the type of person I'm targeting is a professional woman with 2 children who's got generalized anxiety disorder. And that's because when I looked at my caseload, I really thought about maybe not what my specialisms are as much, but it's the clients that I really love working with, the ones that really like working with me. I really like working with them. And when I picked out 3 or 4 clients where there's a really great working relationship and people who've done really well, it was women with generalized anxiety. So I picked in my mind one client and I wrote the website for them. Nowhere in my website do I mention generalized anxiety disorder, but the wording is is kind of the way that I think that person would like, if they were going to search for a therapist, what they'd like to hear, how they'd like to feel when they land on my website. And that's how I've shaped my content. When you confuse people, you lose people. So the aim of niching is to get clarity in your messaging, being very clear about the one person that you really want to attract, that really is going to benefit from your service. And the more you focus on being specific and clear, that will actually help make your messaging really clear, and you'll attract a much wider audience as well. So I hope that's helped. But any questions, pop them below.